What's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LG Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Beyond the Gates. This is week October 27th through the 31st. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video in support of me. You can also subscribe if you are new so that you can stay locked into everything that I have going on this channel. If you have noticed, on my little subscriber counter thing, I was yesterday at 7,805 subscribers. Now it's up to 7815. By the end of 2026, I would like to be at 8,000. Can we make it happen? As President Obama said during his campaign days, yes, we can. So, I am praying. Tell your friends, tell your foes, tell everybody. Don't, please, come and subscribe and join the party over here. You can also leave your comments below. Now let's get into these week's episodes. Now there are a few little hot topics that we can talk about with Beyond the Gates. Just probably, I'll have a few more rants again, but hey, why wouldn't I rant? Because there was a discussion that did go on Twitter, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but as of right now, we'll just get along with what's going on with the story. So Nicole and Danny, they're at the country club, and they see Leslie there, and they're both doing the glare down. But Nicole is determined to ignore her, and Danny insists that she can control herself. Mostly. Maybe. Look, I don't care if you did. Get up and do something to her. Choke her, whatever. If it happens, it happens. If Leslie doesn't push them, is what she was saying, that Danny could control herself. Nicole also fills Danny in on Martin and Smitty's ceremony and seeing Ted afterwards. Danny's aghast and also delighted. Like, did y'all get it in? Of course, Nicole said, nah. Nicole and Danny, they toast to moving on. Then they begin to stare down Leslie again. And Haley, as she comes in, because I believe she tried to drop over to Nicole's table to offer her condolences to Nicole about her divorce and all that good stuff. And, of course, she gets chased away. She then sits down, and Leslie calls her over. Or at least tries to. Haley's not having it, even when Leslie says that you really need a friend who's not afraid of Bill. She could tell things are getting rocky, and she's more than happy to take Bill down because he's the one that sent her away in the first place. Haley tells her to stay out of her way and stomps off. How Haley's portraying herself is like, oh my God. She's like, Leslie's like, good act, but guess what? You can't fool me. We know that there's more underneath the surface as you're trying to play Miss Nice Girl. They tried to allude to that a couple months ago when Leslie was stealing people's leftovers at Orphagines. So now it's come back around where Haley, now that we know that Haley serves some purpose on this show besides being a hoe, I guess we can see what can happen. I really wanted to happen when Leslie first presented herself to her. Haley's been boring. All she's been doing, my bill. Oh my God, Danny. It was very exhausting. It switched up. I didn't like how the whole switch up because there wasn't any type of really clues that were going on. But anyways, and now she's just this master person that can mark people and rob them of their money. I still don't believe it. Even though it's in the script and it has aired, I still am like, I'm not convinced. But if y'all convinced, let me know. Danny finds out also about Ted and Leslie through Nicole hooking up. And of course, Danny is disgusted. She tells her sis that she's got an open island license to do what she wants with whomever she wants, like Carlton. We're going to get into that a little bit later about Nicole and Carlton. Eva and Isaiah, whom are at Uptown, meanwhile chat with each other up, with him jumping right into his job and his ex. But instead of being TMI, Eva's intrigued enough to exchange numbers. She said that she doesn't want anyone's rebound. Oh. But she's happy to hang out. Oh. Okay. But then Kat shows up to ruin everything. Isaiah is so confused as the ladies go at each other, and when Eva leaves, Kat lays out the whole messy saga while bad-mouthing her sister every step of the way. Should I go back to them so I can get Nicole and them out of the way? Carlton pays a visit to Nicole. After some awkwardness, she tells them that she might possibly be willing to consider maybe going beyond friendship with Carlton. She just doesn't want to be seen inappropriate, but Carlton's happy to get into trouble and see where things go. She asked him to dinner. And we're going to see where that goes later on. Bill and Thomas. They go over strategy, but Thomas is clearly in pain. And when Kat shows up, Bill begins to tease him about his obvious pain. They're both horrified as he makes a bunch of puns about his injury. Haley drops in with lunch after everyone leaves, and she tells him about Leslie. Bill promises to boot her from the club, which you were just getting access to just a couple of days ago. But okay. And Haley acts concerned about him poking the beehive. Meaning, look, I'm just telling you this so I can play the part, but I'm really going to be meeting with her later on so that we can take you down. So don't rock the boat. Caroline picks up some papers and casually asks Haley if she got the number she needed. And then Bill said, what number? And he looks all suspicious. Haley says that she took a message for Bill, then changes the subject to Thomas's injury. Nothing distracts like a broken penis, I can say that. Definitely no moss. June, who's at Orpha Jeans working, is surprised to see Samantha at Orpha Jeans, and even more surprised when Nathan shows up after ghosting her daughter. Except now Nathan, after she's confronting him about that, he insists that he didn't ghost Samantha and makes up a bunch of excuses, then tries to put the moves on her when June glares in the background. June stops their kiss with the tray slam and takes their orders as he moves in again. Then she drops a milkshake on him. I said, ooh. While he lays it on thick, telling Samantha he wants to get her clothes off while going through her photos. I said, what in the world? You're going to do that to somebody's parent? Oh, he has no respect. No respect whatsoever. Obviously, there's some elitism. Is that how you say it? And because probably he's a jock, and he's the school hero, and he's got an all-expense-paid college career based upon a football scholarship to wherever he wants to go, he thinks that he's untouchable. So that's why he does what he does. And I'm sure his parents are horrible. I could see, possibly, I don't even know what I can see anymore about this show. What I could see, Samantha's going to do something later on this week. And then, it doesn't go down like she wanted it. She's going to continue to see this dude, who we learn later on what his real intents are. I think, because of hard-headed Samantha's going to be, I can see it going into a assault type of situation. Because she's going to be fast. Now it's up to the audience on if they're going to blame her or still look at this dude. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just really wanted to bring that out. But anyways, I mean, that right there should tell you everything, Samantha. One, that he's rude to an adult. And two, he's sent up here objectifying you and sexualizing you, even with clothes on. That finally chases him out, and Samantha is ticked with her mom, but June insists that she did it for her own favor. He's a liar who doesn't respect her. And then she gives advice of saying, baby, reach higher on the tree. You deserve so much more better than that. If you're in high school, then that's probably what you think is better. Is the best that you're going to get. I'm not saying that June's saying anything wrong. But always look how they would treat your parents or treat an adult to see. But I mean, you can see another way, Samantha. Let's see. The last thing, we're back at Uptown, and Isaiah admits Eva didn't strike him as a dangerous seductress and insists that he can handle whatever she dishes out. Eva gets home to find Leslie purloining a jacket she left behind. Launches right into Kat messing things up with the guy she just met. Leslie happily feeds her daughter's rage, as she is so obsessed with Nicole, as if Nicole is all of her problems as to why she didn't get the man that she was having an affair with. Leslie then tells her that if she wants Isaiah, then go get him and show up Kat while she's at it. So the only advice that we have seen Leslie since the inception of the show is how to keep a man, how to steal a man. She hasn't been able to build any type of business ethic. She's just got a job from her daddy Tati. You haven't been able to do anything. All she has had to do is just try to scrape and survive. Ain't we lucky we got him? Dum ba da ba dum dum. That's all you got, Leslie. And now you got all this fortune for what? You're good for nothing. Anyways, on to Tuesday. Martin and Smitty, Vernon and Anita, they meet, they have lunch. They have tea after lunch. And they talk about remarrying. And they talk a little bit about who cooks better, Anita or Rowena. I would love to see Anita throw down in the kitchen, just to see what she's like from her Chicago days. Anita and Vernon, they tell the grandkids not to bury their emotions that led them to remarry. And the guys agree, but promise that they're not avoiding things. And they're starting marriage counseling. I said, good. Smitty's going to continue on with investigative journalism. And Martin has got to get moving to keep his House seat for the midterms that are coming up. I wonder if we're going to get a little election thing. I don't know. It would have been great, but we're like in November now. So we didn't get to see him do any type of campaigning and all of that. So that would have been cool to have on the show. Kat and Chelsea, they're at Uptown for a Chelsea Kat work chat. And I need to know why y'all don't have an office. I know y'all selling purses, but I mean, the money you guys have, you ladies have, y'all could have a little cubicle or something, a little nice space, just to have an office space to meet. But it's just like, okay, we're going to Starbucks to get free Wi-Fi. And while we're at it, let's get a Frappuccino. And let's talk Chelsea Kat. But anyways, they didn't spend too much time on Chelsea Kat. It wasn't long before Chelsea noticed that her cousin kept looking at the door. And Kat said that she was hoping that she would see Isaiah again. And she said that she needs to keep him far away from Eva for his own sake. Chelsea says that her cousin wants payback against Eva. And she says let Isaiah be a grown man and make his own decisions. Then Samantha, she rushes in as a conversation changes to Kat talking about how horny Thomas is. He just can't get enough and can't stay off of me. Because I hate that they're doing this to Kat, but hey, this is her journey. Because you're a bird and you're trying to please this dude. So she's hearing all that and she takes note. The ladies notice that and then they try to backtrack all their sex talk and then try to talk about if you're having sex, it's got to be with respect, consent, communication, and boundaries. Those are more important than the actual do. I agree. Samantha now has to leave really quickly and tells her cousins that she is going to be going back to school to eat. Well, I guess I should say that Kat is her auntie. All right, we're at the police station. Jacob is reunited with Elon, but first, Isaiah. Jacob and Elon, they're getting into it over being a good cop versus a smart cop. When Isaiah walks in, he's delighted that the golden boy brother is getting yelled at by dad. Jacob's trying to like downplay it, like, no, it's not like that, da 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 da. But that's how he feels as far as you just sticking by the book with everything. But that just turns his pop's attention to him and how much Isaiah is wasting his own potential. Basically, Isaiah needs to be a cop, just like him. I understand that, and how family will just tell you that you should get a job, have some children, retire. Retire after your body has broken all the way down and die. I know how that is. I know how it's crazy to venture off and break into your own because you just don't feel that family tradition that needs to carry on, and you do something different. Isaiah tells them that about his job offer at Banneker University. Jacob congratulates his brother, but Isaiah doesn't know if he wants to accept it. That sets off Elon all over again, but just as he's about to ease up a bit, Isaiah gets frustrated and walks off. Elon's quite controlling, as I can see from it, you know. Let's see. Now we're going to go over to the hospital. Shanice and Carlton are in the middle of work talk when Nicole walks up and jumps right into flirting. And Shanice is eating it all up as they plan their dinner date. But Ted ruins it all when he shows up mid-giggle between the two. Nicole tells him that he has no say in who she sees, and then lays into him about sleeping around before they were divorced. Like, simple. Like, what are we talking about, Ted? You were doing your thing. Carlton tries to speak up, which ticks Ted off. But Nicole puts him in his place, while Shanice reluctantly asks them to take all this more privately. Shanice, you was... After you start getting tea, now you want to act like you're all professional. Stop. But we love it, though. She then tries shutting Carlton up. Too late. He twists the knife in Ted about how Nicole needs a man who treasures her. Well, did he lie? Let's see. Ted brushes past a frustrated Nicole and gets upset at his former friend. Nicole sends Ted away and then turns her ire to Carlton. The date's off after the two guys went all caveman because Ted was about to go upside his head. I would have loved to see it. Yeah. Isaiah asks his brother what he walked in on, but Jacob turns things to the Banneker job offer, and that's when Yolanda, this is his ex, texts Isaiah that she and him are through. So take the stupid job. That solves that. Oof. Kat is horrified at the thought of looking her brother in the face after what Samantha heard. But Chelsea's sure all that talk didn't make a difference. As far as she thought that nothing was going to happen with Samantha. Wrong. Samantha already back home making out with Nathan. To his credit, he does check to be sure she wants it. Samantha does. But she's not getting it when Martin and Smitty walk in and start yelling. And I am so glad that they started yelling. Ugh. Now we're moving on to Wednesday. Carlton, he apologizes to Nicole for his behavior at the hospital. And just like that, Nicole puts her would-be beau on ice. Why? She's not ready to move on, and she still has feelings for Ted. Then why'd you divorce him? I mean, it's normal. It's just me who was a fan of possibly you and Ted getting along, but then Ted wasn't really fighting for you. So it's kind of like a who cares type of situation. She can't make any decisions about the future while her heart is still bleeding. He thanks her for the most graceful rejection ever. But she says it's just hitting pause, at least for now. Yet before sending him off into the night, she shares a kiss with the guy. So do you think that eventually Nicole and Carlton will hit it off, or will it just be him moving on? I mean, realistically, I'm not hanging around while someone is trying to get over someone else. Let them do what they do. If by some chance I'm still available, then I might take you up on your offer. But I'm just, no. You just got to do what you got to do. And it's just hard for me, Carlton, because even though Ted now wants to fight for somebody who you don't own her, I think Ted can feel it quite a ways. You've watched for over at least 30 plus years, maybe at least 20 something. I'll give you like, well, I'll say 30 plus years. This guy be married to this woman. And before the ink is dry, you're ready to pursue this woman. You saw their marriage. You saw their children grow up. It's not a thing that you're the random that just came in all of a sudden. Not in my opinion, but y'all can leave whatever. I'm not saying that Nicole doesn't have the right to move on and whomever she wants to move on with, but it can look a certain type of way with you, Carlton, doing what you're doing. But do y'all want Nicole with someone else, or should she be with Carlton? Or should Nicole just have sex, just like how Danny and Andre did? But now they're married. I don't know. I don't know what the right choice is for Nicole. Danny and Vanessa, they have a catch-up at the country club. Hearing about Leslie and Haley crossing paths, Danny quips, "I swear this club is infested with interloping sluts." Without signaling, Danny switches lanes by urging her friend to push Joey out of her life. But Vanessa refuses to apologize for feeling something other than grief and guilt. Danny fears the blonde is thinking of marrying Joey, but Vanessa has a different plan. She doesn't want to be the woman standing beside Joey's throne. She wants to sit on it with him. I think you're just living out your baddie life. Something you've always wanted to do. That can be quite dangerous, I think, in some ways, but Vanessa, you got it. I guess you do. We're going to see what Joey actually gets you involved into. And if you can really get yourself out of it for whatever's going to happen. Let's see. Jacob's dad, Elon, puts on his stern face and visits Joey to lay down the law. Elon is ticked that Joey ordered Malone to stay in town and on his payroll. Joey makes it clear that they need to be smart because we both know there are bigger entities at stake here. Warning that it's not just about their necks on the line. They talk about big names who are seen as angels even as they hide their horns. Anybody else think the whole veiled conversation might be in reference to Vernon? Could the patriarch be a baddie? Maybe so, maybe not. Joey says that if they don't want to keep Marcel on the force, they can group his replacement, Jacob. Okay, they can groom his replacement, Jacob. No, not this Boy Scout. Jacob is not falling for that. Sorry. Joey says it was a joke, but Elon doesn't see it as humor in it. But the dad seems more than willing to serve Joey, his bad son Isaiah, on a silver platter. I can see that happening. Isaiah gives more bad boy vibes, but I don't think that he's bad boy. He just doesn't do the same things that Elon does. Anyways, back at Uptown with Eva and Isaiah, Isaiah reaches out to his ex Yolanda and is shot down again. Feeling blue, he reaches out to Eva, who joins him for drinks at Uptown. They complain about their parental units, his dad, her mom, and his ex. After using a dead-on, insecure reference to Peg Isaiah, she suggests that he is at the bar trolling for a rebound check. But clearly these two are headed for a relationship. We know that. So, back at the Richards' home. Samantha's dads are furious to find her half-dressed and clearly on the verge of going all the way with Nathan. She says it's not what it looks like. But yeah, it is. And her fathers know it, especially finding the condom Nathan dropped. And when they barged in, they give Nathan what for, leaving Sam mortified. She points out that she's 16, the age of consent in D.C. True fact. All you gotta do is Google it. But anyways, that doesn't score any points as they ground the girl. They take away her electronics, and perhaps worst of all, they're disappointed. I was wondering, are y'all of this generation of gently parenting, or are y'all the type of parents, that Samantha's got to stay home for a couple of days? I think so. But Samantha was given a lot of back talk. One, you let a dude in your home, in the house. Two, on the couch. Ew. Like, why didn't y'all go to his house? Or, since you're so consentful, why don't y'all get a hotel room? Oh, you're not an adult. I don't know if you can get it at 18. Can you? I don't know if you can. But anyways. That doesn't score any points as they ground the girl. Take away her electronics, da-da-da-da-da. Perhaps we're... Okay, blah, 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 blah. Martin talks through their next move and their parenting techniques. Of course, Martin was asking Smitty, was he too hard on her? And he said no. Ultimately, they realized they're a good pair. When I go nuclear, you're the cooling system. That keeps us from melting down, admits Martin. And upstairs, Tyrell tells Sam that Nathan is a walking red flag in sneakers and warns her the dude is trouble. She pretends to agree, but then steals Tyrell's phone to secretly message Nathan and set up a meeting. Trifling heifer. I mean, she was doing the most. Look, even if it is consent, I just don't think I know that we do a lot of things. Why are you doing it in your parents' home? Why did you do it out in the open like that? I think that that's just not smart planning whatsoever. Dude just wants your cooch. He wants your virgin card. And you're willing to give it to him. Wake up, girl. Yeah. So that's that on that. And we're going to go to Thursday. But I'm glad that at least Tyrell, who was trying to take up for his sister a little bit, well, not really. He was just trying to be like, I don't know what's going on here. They have this connection where they look at each other, da-da-da-da-da-da. She wasn't listening, da-da-da-da-da. But anyways, I'm glad that at least Tyrell is trying to lead her in a good direction. All right, Thursday. It's Halloween in Fairmont Crest, which means it's costume time. Vernon's rocking this perfectly colored orange and brown sweater, while Nicole, a welcome trick-or-treater, are pulling a wardrobe-related Freaky Friday. Meaning Nicole is dressed as a witch, while Leslie is working angel wings. Nicole's the devil, and whatever. How does this girl still get in? I don't understand how this family is just this force to be reckoned with. You can't do this, da-da-da-da-da. We can shut you down, but she's still able to just walk right on in. That's the type of stuff that at least we get mad at the writers because this is not fair. I'm sorry. Not that much. That's something that can be controlled, but it doesn't. Maybe the first time, but all these other times that Leslie's just been able to walk in, absolutely not. Over at Smitty and Martin's home, Samantha whines about being grounded because it's so unfair. While Jessica and Tyrell look adorable as chess king and queen. I didn't know that she liked chess. But I think that that's just the costume that she's wearing. Whatever. Elsewhere, Derek arranges for he and Ashley to dress as bride and groom. After attending a party off-screen for the baby Andre and Ashley delivered, Derek and his lady cross paths with Andre at a local restaurant. Once Andre leaves, the couple starts talking wedding dates, which pretty much triggers a panic attack in Ashley, meaning she never really wanted to get married to him in the first place. At Orthogenes, Tyrell hears Nathan tell someone that the DMV's top model wants me to punch her V-card. It pretty quickly becomes evident that something else, namely Nathan, is about to be punched. Jessica declares Nathan is gross, and Tyrell stands up for her sis. Even after finding out she lifted his phone to send her would-be lover a text. Verbal barbs fly, and Nathan is clearly out of his league. Jessica scores big points when she makes it clear she doesn't care that Tyrell isn't one of the cool kids. Meanwhile, Samantha asks Nicole if she can move in with her. They have a very honest talk about sex. Nicole mostly avoiding sounding judgment. Sharing your body with another person means sharing your whole self. Grandma shares. That experience without affection can be very cold. And eavesdropping Martin hears his daughter admit that she got the idea that sleeping with Nathan would bring them closer from Kat. Martin loses it even more so after finding out Sam wants to live with Grandma. And here's the part I hate. Leslie crosses paths with Ted at Uptown, despite having just received advice, courtesy of Andre, that he give Nicole space. She's all Ted wants to talk about with Leslie. She turns every word out of his mouth into a supposed come on. That is so stupid and childish. That's like a Nikki Parker. A Nikki Parker. That's all that stuff that she used to do for Professor Ogilvy all the time. That is so crazy. Um, Ted finally does say that she's blowing everything, including a chance to be friends. She admits that trying to destroy him wasn't as rewarding as she thought it would be. They begin reflecting on the past, the mood lightens, and he wonders if maybe they can start fresh. What about your apology to Nicole and that whole setup there? Because I don't believe that day would ever come, but you're doing everything you can to finally get this man that you've been thirsting after for over 20-something years. At Orphans, Leslie tells Jan, this is Friday, that she and Ted are getting closer. Delusional. To her surprise, he even suggested that they might become friends. Of course, Leslie is already thinking about the benefits, especially since she and Ted were friends decades ago before they got involved. They were? Oh my gosh, the writing. I'm telling you, they're making stuff up as it. Meanwhile, it just, wait, before we go there. She gets to start over with Ted. She gets to have one of her friends back who just basically wants her around so she could have someone to have some money and someone that can still share the gossip with. Meanwhile, Ted is having breakfast with Eva at the club. This is the next day. He wants to make up for lost time, even suggesting that she starts calling him Dad. He says Eva reminds him of the Leslie he knew years ago and that he's proud. Later, Ted apologizes to Nicole for his behavior and says that if she wants to invite Carlton to be her escort to Winterfest, he'll respect that. When Leslie catches up with him at the hospital and learns that Ted asks Eva to call him Dad, she is clearly moved and they share a hug, which is, of course, witnessed by Nicole. Of course, that's something that Eva's always wanted, is an approval from a male. Haley and Bill, they go from talking about tropical vacation to him suggesting they buy a second home somewhere sunny. Quicker than you can say search Zillow, they found a seaside home and Bill's making an offer on it. Once the offer is accepted, Bill announces he's putting the place in Haley's name. Why isn't that one in your... Because Vanessa is the one that got you that house. Well, maybe not. Well, yeah. Because I'm trying to remember, because when Danny broke into the house months ago, but I think that she remembered that this is the same code that Bill would always use, and that's how she was able to get in the home. Soon after Mrs. Richardson crosses path with Joey Armstrong at Orphans, things start out friendly until he mentions the secret she and Randy are keeping. Wait. Mrs. Richardson, wait, no. No, what is Bill's last name? Anyways, Haley. Things start off friendly until he mentions the secret she and Randy are keeping. You'll recall that to cover their tracks, Randy claimed to Joey that he and Haley are having an affair. She quickly loses her cool, laughing off the supposed affair, and then threatening to sue both Joey and Sammy. She storms out, but the look on Joey's face makes it clear he thinks that this so-called lady doth protest too much. Shakespeare. Learn it. Thomas makes it clear that he would like to talk about anything other than his groin injury, which Kat has been kind of obsessing over. They are joined by Madison and Chelsea, the latter of whom can't help but to ask the attorney how's it hanging. Broken and curved. How about that? This annoys Madison, prompting Chelsea to tell Kat that she and her girlfriend are having some issues, which quickly becomes obvious. Much to Chelsea's surprise, Kat takes Madison's side. When Madison tells Nicole about the issue she and Chelsea are having, the shrink suggests that if the women want to make their relationship work, they'll have to develop better communication skills. Running into Thomas at the club, Eva's surprised when he reveals that her new pal Isaiah is Jacob's brother. In other words, she's throwing sparks with the brother of the guy who's been working overtime to bust her mom. Yeah, how y'all feel about that whole Ted and Leslie situation? She hasn't paid for her crimes, and it wasn't even about ruining Ted's life. She wanted to ruin the relationship so that he could be, so she could be with him. I don't know. It just seems like we've only seen schemes at the beginning of the show from her, and now everything is being handed to her on a silver platter. I don't really like that. Sam, you are in some trouble. But I do think that I can see it going down a line of abuse or an attack on Sam because of her eagerness to think that this is the way that she's going to get a man. I can see that happening. Some people thought it was going to be a pregnancy. I don't really think that. Not yet. Nah. People are kind of just tuning out because of stuff like, it's like Leslie gets everything. And y'all sitting up here talking about how good Eva is. All Eva has gotten is a job by her daddy. Her mama gave her an old dump of a house. And she got some new hair. But now she's just she's gotten so far in life. It's been 2 months. And now Eva reminds her of how Leslie was. I'm telling y'all, it just doesn't seem like that there is a flow. I'm sorry, y'all. I love the show, but at the same time, it's just like you're not making sense. Not to me. Maybe if they do to you, please let me know. And tell me how it happens, for y'all. But anyways, that's all I have for this week. There's a lot of other stuff I saw in the previews, but stay tuned. Stay tuned to my channel. Lock in, subscribe. Like this video. Leave your comments below. And until the next one, peace.